Yo, so guys, welcome back to another video. This is another state sort of facts about each sort of US state. I've done these videos in the past and I've always enjoyed them, and yeah, we're back with another one. This one is 50 United States facts covering each US state, not United State, US state. And yeah, I mean, some of these I may have heard about, but again, these videos are always quite interesting just to sort of look at the most random things. I've not done one of these fact videos in a long time, so it's
Hi there, I'm John Green.
going to be fun to look back at sort of these kinds of things again, because I usually sort of do like the compilation type videos, or like things the US and UK do differently, and just other things like that, other than like obviously like the science and space sort of videos I do, geography videos. But yeah, back with one of these ones, hopefully kind of to enjoy. Suggest some more videos like this if you want more. And yeah, quick shout out to my Instagram and my Twitter, links in the description for those, same for my Patreon, links all there for those interested. But yeah, let's give this a watch.
Green, welcome to my salon. Hey there, conjoined twins. This
hopefully I can drink without choking on my water this
is
time.
Mental Floss, and today I'm going to share with you 50 facts about the 50 American states. And I promise you there is at least one interesting fact about every state in the Union, even New Jersey. By the way, a professor of New Jersey geography recently emailed me to criticize me for my long-standing anti-New Jersey bias. And I have a message for her. I'm sorry, and I was wrong. I mean, I went to high school in a place that's often maligned. In fact, let's start there and just go in alphabetical order. Alabama's largest city, Birmingham, wasn't founded until 1871. It was intended to be a model of industrialization for the post-Civil War South, and that sort of worked. Fortunately for Alabama, that steel mill roller coaster only goes up. In 1921, President Warren G. Harding visited Birmingham for the city's 50th anniversary, and in a speech, he advised the people of Birmingham to extend voting equality to African-American citizens. This was not a popular sentiment in 1921, but it was kind of the most heroic, arguably only heroic moment of Harding's presidency. 99% of Alaska belongs to the federal government, state government, or Alaska Native corporations. Only 1% is held by private citizens. Arizona extended the vote to women in 1912, 8 years before the national arrival of women's suffrage. The state would then go on to spend the next 100 years attempting to restrict the voting rights of various groups. Does that come across as partisan? I mean, it is a fact. In 1881, the Arkansas state legislature passed an act to standardize the pronunciation of...
They allowed women to vote before anywhere else in the country, or like before, and now then they sort of try to restrict people from being able to vote.
Of women's suffrage. The state would then go on to spend the next 100 years attempting to restrict the voting rights of various groups. Does that come across as partisan? I mean, it's a fact. In 1881, the Arkansas state legislature passed an act to standardize the pronunciation of the state's name. This law was needed to settle a dispute between the state's two U.S. senators. One wanted to be known as the senator from Arkansas, and the other as the senator from Arkansas. The California gold rush that gave the San Francisco 49ers their name began in January of 1848. In 1970, Denver, Colorado won its bid to host the 1976 Winter Olympics, but in 1972, the city's residents decided they didn't want to pay to host the games, so they rejected the offer. Salt Lake City then offered to take up the now homeless Winter Olympics, but they ended up in Innsbruck, Austria. Connecticut didn't bother to write a state constitution until 1818, and so until then, they operated under the Royal Charter of 1662, which did not provide for the separation of church and state, meaning that Connecticut retained the Church of England as its official religious body for 19 years after the U.S. Constitution went into effect. Delaware was involved in a border dispute with Pennsylvania and Maryland that began in 1681. The big surprise there is that Delaware borders Pennsylvania? Anyway, in a 1753 attempt to resolve the dispute over about 1 square mile of land, the colonies involved hired Charles Mason and Jeremiah Dixon to survey the area. The border they drew was called the Mason-Dixon line. It failed to resolve the dispute, incidentally, but it did become important in U.S. history. Although Florida is called the Sunshine State, it actually has more lightning strikes than any other state. In 2000...
See, I learned like this in geography. Isn't Florida like the place with the most storms that happen in the world, or like the most lightning storms, or something like that? Like, it's crazy how bipolar Florida is. You either have the nicest weather possible, or you're hit with the nastiest weather possible. And I mean, I think it's because of how hot it gets, and like when something gets so hot, that sort of means it's when like things go bad, it's going to go bad. And obviously, it's to do with like just the winds or the streams or whatever it's called from the ocean, and the air, the hot air colliding with the cold air kind of thing. But That is kind of wild.
2010, Georgia tried to seize territory from Tennessee, claiming the border had been incorrectly drawn in 1818. But Tennessee replied by saying, Georgia, it's 2010. Is that really your biggest problem? Sanford B. Dole was instrumental in wresting control of Hawaii from Hawaiians, and in Hawaiian, Spanish moss is called umi umi o dole, or dole's beard. Idaho potatoes are not native to Idaho. They are an invasive species and a delicious one. In 1839, Joseph Smith Jr., the founder of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, was murdered by an angry mob in Nauvoo, Illinois. As for my adopted home state of Indiana, no one actually knows what Hoosier means. Stop asking. Britt, Iowa is home to the annual National Hobo Convention. Don't call these hobos tramps, though. Hobos think of themselves as migrant workers. Tramps are just transient beggars who don't work, and bums are sedentary non-workers who are too lazy even to travel, at least according to hobos. Kansas is the only state with a successful recording career. In the 1970s, the state had several hit singles, including Carry On My Wayward Son and Dust in the Wind. What? Those weren't recorded by the actual state of Kansas? All right, how about this? The 2005 movie adaptation of In Cold Blood was mainly shot in Manitoba, Canada, presumably because Kansas was too boring to carry a movie. Manitoba, on the other hand, non-stop party. Kentucky is home to the world's largest cave system in Mammoth Cave National Park, and also the world's largest baseball bat. Louisiana ranks 49th in the American State Litter Scorecard. Only Kentucky has more roadside littering, but most of it just washes into that big-ass cave, so nobody really minds much. Maine is the only state with a one-syllable name. I can see you thinking about it, but it's true. Utah, fewer letters, more syllables. Maryland's official state sport is jousting. Massachusetts is home to the New England...
Jousting is so strange, bro. I still remember that scene from Game of Thrones, the jousting one, where he just gets sliced, bro. But jousting's weird, man. Is it allowed now? But you're not allowed to use like swords, of course. You have to use like other things. I mean, it is allowed now. But what do they actually use? Of course, it's allowed now. You just said it's a national sport. What is this? Still looks sharp.
Massachusetts is home to the New England Candy Company, maker of that uniquely disgusting confection, the...
I tell you what, I've got to look at this right now. I've got to see what the hell's going on in the jousting world. I'm going to probably spell it wrong as well. Jousting. Yeah, spelled it wrong. Jousting. This is probably going to get blocked. Let's just skip to the actual... Oh! Still looks fucking painful, bro. Oh my days, the whiplash from that. There's probably some nasty ass injuries from that, man. I can't even lie. Jeez, I mean, yo, you do you.
Necco wafer. The pink one is supposed to be clove flavored. Clove flavored. That's not candy, that's poison. In 1846, Michigan became the first state to abolish the death penalty. Some believe this was done simply to spite Canada, which still had public executions at the time. Minnesota is known as the land of 10,000 lakes, but in fact, the state has 11,482 lakes larger than 10 acres. They're modest, those Minnesotans. The state of Mississippi produces more farm-raised catfish than any other state in the nation, which I mentioned primarily because my good friend Townsend Kaiser was named Alabama's Catfish Farmer of the Year in 2009. In 1838, before Missouri was even a state, it got into a border dispute with Iowa called the Honey War. Both territories called their militias to the border, and 3 trees got cut down before the Supreme Court resolved the dispute in favor of Iowa. It was the least fatal war in American history. Montana's Roe River is known as the shortest river in the world at just 201 feet, but this has been disputed by the people of Oregon, who also claim to have the world's shortest river. Nebraska's state government is weird. First off, it's the only state with a unicameral legislature. Also, it is nonpartisan. Members of the legislature are elected without a party affiliation and are supposed to operate in a nonpartisan way. Reno, Nevada is west of Los Angeles, California. I know, right? New Hampshire immortalized the famous cliff known as the Old Man of the Mountain by submitting it as the state's design for the 50 states quarters issued by the U.S. Mint. The Old Man of the mountain promptly fell off the mountain in 2003, leaving the state looking like a bunch of liars who made the thing up just to put it on a quarter. The phonograph, the movie projector, the drive-in theater, and baseball were all invented in the underrated state of New Jersey. Santa Fe, New Mexico is the highest state capital in the U.S. with an elevation of 7,260 feet. The New York Post was founded in 1801 by Alexander Hamilton, and for much of its history, it was a serious newspaper. It didn't become a tasteless sham until Rupert Murdoch acquired it in 1976.
Wait, let me hit this
Post was founded in 1801 by
1801. Oh, wow. That is actually insane. 220 years.
Alexander Hamilton, and for much of its history, it was a serious newspaper. It didn't become a tasteless sham until Rupert Murdoch acquired it in 1976. North Carolina is the nation's largest producer of sweet potatoes. North Dakota tried to drop the North from its name twice. In 1947 and 1989, the legislature rejected bids to change the state's name to Dakota, presumably to make South Dakotans feel like copycats. Akron, Ohio introduced the first police car in 1899. The Oklahoma State Capitol building has a working oil derrick on its grounds, which is surprising because Oklahoma has protested the Keystone XL pipeline. You cannot pump your own gas in Oregon, or New Jersey for that matter. State College Pennsylvania High School was the first to offer driver
someone have to do it for
its grounds, which is surprising because Oklahoma has protested the Keystone XL pipeline. You cannot pump your own gas
full service no smoking stop
in Oregon, or
wait, so how does it
New Jersey for that matter. State College Pennsylvania High School was the first to offer driver's education to teenagers. Rhode Island rejected the 18th Amendment in 1919. That was the amendment that forbid me from reading my favorite book, Beauty from Ashes. Due to the tyranny of the majority, they still weren't allowed to drink. Before South Carolina was called the Palmetto State, it was the Iodine State. So there are no goiters in South Carolina, but there are some Big Macs. South Dakota has a fascination with massive sculptures. Not only is it home to Mount Rushmore, it's also home to the still uncompleted Crazy Horse Monument, which was begun in 1948. Despite containing relatively few adherents to ancient Greek religion, Tennessee, for some reason, has a full-scale replica of the Parthenon. The flags of 6 nations have flown over Texas: Spain, France, Mexico, the Republic of Texas, the Confederate States of America, and the United States of America. If you're wondering where the Six Flag chain of amusement parks got its name, yes. Levan, Utah, which is located in the middle of the state, got its name because it's navel spelled backwards. Vermont has the smallest state capital. Montpelier has a population of 7,855, and every one of them is fiercely independent. Virginia has produced 8 presidents. Washington, Jefferson.
The capital has 7,000 people. What?
Jefferson, Madison, Monroe, William Henry Harrison, Tyler, Taylor, and Wilson. Does William Henry Harrison really count? I guess so. Washington's King County, home to Seattle, was originally named for William R. King, vice president under Franklin Pierce. It was renamed in 1986 for Martin Luther King Jr. The first federal women's prison opened in West Virginia in 1926, which gave rise to the women in prison genre of family entertainment. Monroe, Wisconsin claims to be the Swiss cheese capital of the world, in spite of the fact that Swiss cheese is from Switzerland. Also, the largest manufacturer of Swiss cheese in the United States is Brewster Dairy, located in Brewster, Ohio. Claimed to be the Swiss 6 for Martin Luther King.
How do you do that? Swiss cheese is literally
in spite of the fact that Swiss cheese is from Switzerland. Also, the largest manufacturer of Swiss cheese in the United States is Brewster Dairy, located in Brewster, Ohio. So that claim is dubious. And lastly, we return to the land of conjoined skeletons to discuss Wyoming, which was the first state to have ladies voting, the first state to mine coal, and the last state where any human being would want.
So I was wrong with the women's voting being the first. It was just earlier than when it was made legal in the US from the other
want to live. By which I mean it is our least populous state. So there you go, 50 facts about 50 states. Thanks for watching, Men of Law.
I enjoyed this again. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this as well. I'm going to see some of the comments. I always enjoy these sort of fact states. Again, some states probably get done dirty when there's just a fact that's not even that fun, and then the next state's like, bro, this fact's blowing your mind kind of thing. But I still enjoy it. I live in Kansas. I'm slightly insulted that I didn't have a better fact. Everything's legal in New Jersey. Most people do not know this. In the Isles of Hawaii, there is one isle that still resides the original Hawaiian monarchy family that no one can land on. I feel like I saw that in a previous video. The comments don't really have in 1838, before Missouri was even a state. Got to stop there. Missouri became a state in 1821. Oh god. So I'm guessing some of these facts were wrong as well, but I still enjoyed it nevertheless. But I hope you did as well. Let me know some more videos like this you want to see in future. And yeah, until next time, like, subscribe, peace.